Hello, welcome to Monday Morning Matters live broadcast show brought to you by Magnicraft Consulting team, anchored by Niyi Dunmade, a certified church consultant with the Society for Church Consulting in the U.S. Here, each Monday of every week, we address important, relevant, and actionable topics of interest that will help you and your church grow healthier. And now, meet your host, Niyi Dunmade.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I don't know where you are watching me from, but I'm bringing greetings from the city of Abuja. Thank you for everyone that has hooked up with us on Monday Morning Matters. My name is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessment training and strategic blueprints. Okay, and happy new month to all our viewers. This month last month we talked on the church that God blesses, the church that God blesses. And this month we're going to talk on starting revitalization. How to know your church is in revitalization? How do you prepare How do you kickstart? How do you get yourself ready to ensure that there is proper church revitalization? Now, the reason why we're bringing all this is because we're still trying to get away from the pandemic, and a lot of our churches need some revitalization, and it was very important for us to look at the subject church revitalization. A lot of churches are really at the decline. A lot of churches are actually in a nosedive towards preservation and life support. But I want to tell you that we can help you. We can, and so you're welcome on board to this live broadcast show. Thank you for hooking up with us on Monday Morning Matters. We are so glad you are part of this broadcast, and thank you for all our viewers, our fans who are commenting and reaching out to us on the social media handles and telling us how timely our broadcast can be. Okay, last Mondays we were looking at the church that God blesses, and we had 5 series of it. Today we're going to look at church revitalization. Now, church revitalization is needed today. And what's the definition for church revitalization? Church revitalization is a deliberate, dedicated, and protracted effort, okay, by leadership to reverse the decline or death that exists in a church. So it's just a fancy word for a healthy growth, for change, and then for the church to move from decline to increase in the church. So what are the things that helps? Before I even go to what are the things that helps, there's a church life cycle that I wanted to just look into. And the church life cycle, we have the launch phase, that's the birth phase of the church. Momentum growth, that's when the church is trying to gain some traction, some growth. And then strategic growth, sustained health. At the peak of the Bellevue curve is the sustained health. Even when you are in sustained health, you need some form of revitalization, because you need some vitality to sustain health. And you can attest to it that at the top, it takes more work to stay at the top than the work you need to actually move from the momentum growth, strategic growth, to sustain health. But the right side of the screen, that is the maintenance, preservation, and the life support, will require you to kickstart a church revitalization. Kickstart church revitalization. The reason is because cultural Christianity is dying. In fact, it's fading away. The boomers are fading away. We need to ensure that those cultural Christianity is not the norm again. Sunday is no longer sacred. And we need to accept that the gospel has a lot more resistance unlike before. So first of all, we need to find out where your church is on the life cycle, where your church is. Now, what are the reasons for church decline? There's a lot of people who are transporting themselves to your church and they're not living in the neighborhood. So probably 20 miles from your location, you have more people coming in for your church, and then you cannot be able to make the needed impact in your community. You're spending so much on outreach and then your children, but you're not getting the best of results from the people in the community. The average age of your church is way too high compared to the average age of the community. And also, there's no connect. You cannot actually see yourself in the community or find a way of connecting your church demographics with the community's demographics. The church facility and the building looks so archaic that the community is not proud to identify with the building, not to talk about the church. Okay, is it appealing to current cultures and trends and languages? I hope you know that everything a church does speaks, even your facility, your sermons, they all speak, and we need to make sure that they're actually speaking the language that people really understand. People really understand. Okay, so we're going to get down to how do you know your church needs a revitalization? How do you know your church needs a church health consultation? One, I just want to really do some foundations here, and then from next subsequent Mondays, we're going to build on it. We're going to build on it that it will help your church. But please follow me as we build some of these foundations together. How do we know that our church needs a revitalization? Now, some of the things I've mentioned. One is your church declining or growing much lower than the growth rate of the community. So if your church is growing at 2% growth rate, but your community is growing at 27% growth rate, you will need some form of revitalization. You may need some form of consultation. Did your last outreach event fail to assimilate any new regular attendee? So you've been doing a lot of outreaches, you've been doing a lot of special programs, you've been doing a lot of activities and events, but the truth about it is that it's not bringing in, it's not getting you to assimilate any new regular attenders in recent times. And to be candid, I've seen churches who in the past 10 years, they've been declining and declining and declining, and they are not seeing, and they've been doing a lot of outreaches, they've been doing a lot of evangelism, but they have not been able to assimilate any new regular attendee. You need to really listen to what I have to say about church revitalization. 3, have you tried and failed to initiate change without a lasting success? You have been trying to change, you inject new leadership, you inject new systems, you try to overhaul, but you see, because with all those change initiation, it's not bringing about any result or success in your church. You will need some form of revitalization. Okay, you need some form of revitalization. As the church struggled to meet attendance and financial goals. So you are 200 at the beginning of January, but you now want to hit up 300 by December that same year, but then you end up by 150 or 100. Okay, you end up with a decline. So you're not being able to. You're struggling. You're struggling to meet your attendance goals. You're struggling to meet your financial goals. You are struggling to carry out the Great Commission. We're not talking about the good commission here. It's a Great Commission. It's a great commandment. All right. Are there large numbers of first-timer guests who won't come back? This is so rampant, and I have a training on church retention that can address some of these issues. You have your front door wide open, a lot of visitors volume coming to your church, large numbers of first-timers, guests, and converts are coming into your church, but they don't come back, they don't stay, you don't have an opportunity to disciple them. You need some form of church revitalization. Is your church also struggling to retain young families? Okay, you see everyone is 65, 55, 75 in your church. That's the average age of your church. But the young ones do not find a way of seeing themselves being adequately fit into the settings of your church. So you cannot retain young families. I will say that for a church to get revitalized, your avatar must be such that is attractive to the family unit, the father, the mother, the children. Okay, the family unit. Is your church struggling to retain young families? 7, are there large numbers of transferred out? Now your back door is so wide open that as people are coming in, much more people are going out. And I can tell you that before you can get yourself to addition and multiplication, you must be able to overcome the gravity of subtraction. Your back door must be well manned so that your transferred out is not so much that is giving you a nosedive decline. Okay, are there large numbers of transferred out who keep same residence? They are still in the community, but they don't come to church anymore. You need some form of revitalization, because that means that the community is having a very negative perception about your church. Number 8, are there large numbers of members with no roles, no tasks, no job description, no small group involvement, okay, in your church? You need some form of revitalization, because the truth about it is that the church revitalization we are talking about, we're not talking about a building, we are talking about people, okay? Their work with God, their relationship with God, their connection with God. Are there large numbers with no roles? They are not performing anything, they are not doing any tasks, they are not involved in small groups or in workforce? You need some form of revitalization. Number 9, is there a large gap between church membership an average worship attendance. So your database of membership, let's say, is 5,000, but the people that come regularly on an average basis to your church is 500. So you have a lot of people in your database who don't show up in your services. In fact, one of the things that attendance should really open our eyes to is that when you have 500 attend your church, that tells you those who showed up in your church. But you see, that number should also tell you those who didn't show up in your church. And those who didn't show up in your church, if there are more than those people who show up in your church, I tell you that you will need some form of church revitalization. In fact, some pastors don't even know those who don't show up in church. We need to find a system, a very efficient and effective system for churches to know those who didn't show up in church. You see, the parable of the lost sheep, one was missing and wandered into the wilderness. If the shepherd did not have good accountability skills of making sure that all the 100 sheep are with him in his custody, he wouldn't know when that one has strayed away into the wilderness. 9, is there a large gap between church membership and average worship attendance? 10, is there a high percentage of members whose worship attendance is one Sunday per month or less? So because the cultural Christianity is winding away, is dying away, we have less frequency of attendance in our churches. Less frequency of attendance. Now, you have to work on that. What is the average, what's the frequency of attendance in your church? If it has gone as low as one Sunday per month or less, that means that you need to understand your church growth. You need to understand what is going on, and then make sure that you and get people to come to church frequently and get it to be 3 or 4 Sundays per month. Are there some handful of people, that's 11, are there some handful of people carrying most of the burden load? Okay, you have the church running effectively, but a lot of the workload is actually being carried by a few set of people. Okay, a few set of people carrying the ministry load, carrying all the load of the church. We need to see that there's some form of revitalization. You see, one of the things that I want to say here is that the more people the more volunteers and people you get into the ministry opportunities, the better for your church. The more your church will be revitalized. So you need some form of revitalization. If you have a handful, a few set of people, especially when you have a staff and all the volunteers just backs off, and then they allow the staff to do all the work in the church. 12, do you lack a clear dream, vision, or a defined plan for the future that is shared by most of you in the church? Okay, that is everyone in the church. Like 80% of the church sees this vision as our church, and they are able to pursue that clear vision and dream with a strategic plan to move towards the future and getting their goals achieved. Okay, 13, are you tired of seeing good people leave your church? Are you tired of seeing newcomers come in droves, walk into the front door, and then you don't see them anymore? They go through the back door, and you don't even see them anymore. So I've consulted for churches who tell me that we have guests coming, because it's true about it that when people come to your church, you notice when they come to your church, but when they go through the back door, you don't notice when they go through the back door. So if you are tired of seeing people coming through the front door, but you don't have a grip of how they walked out of the back door, your church really needs some revitalization. The last one, as a church, you have not done a comprehensive health check in the last 2-3 years. I can tell you, if you have not done that, you need some form of checkup. You need to just engage us. Let's come do. It's just going to take like 3-4 months for us to do some in-depth analysis of you. And from there, you can be able to begin the journey to kickstart your church revitalization. Kickstart your church revitalization. Now, looking at the consultation mirror is very, very, very important. Okay? You cannot improve if you don't know who you are, how you look, what you are, and what you're doing. You cannot improve without you just having that consultation mirror, all right, looking at what is going on your church. And that's why one of it, personally as a consultant, I like to do assessment on the key leaders first, because that will only tell us how successful. So we do pastoral leadership audit, we do a MBTI assessment, this assessment, because to drive revitalization, it requires some dominant and influencers kind of personality in the spiritual formation. So for us, because church is a spiritual journey, church is a strategic and spiritual journey, church life is a strategic and spiritual journey, then we need some form of spiritual formation to lead the church from where they are today to where they should be in the future. So how do you set up the spiritual formation? Don't just use staff or leaders and boards alone. Use men and women in the church that represent all the fiber of the church. Use known men, men of integrity, people that are positive, people that that love the church at heart, people that are passionate, people that are trusted. Because to lead revitalization, you must be trusted. That's why a lot of pastors who are in the honeymoon stage, or maybe 1 to 5 years of the stage of leading the church, tenure stage of the church, they don't usually get successful with revitalization because of trust issues. Okay, are you going to be here for that long time? The trust issues is there. You must have tough skin to criticism. Okay, be resilient, have some grit, have some good courage, be focused, be disciplined. Those are the characteristics of leaders, of pastors, revitalizing pastors, forming spiritual having spiritual formation that will move that church from where it is to where it should be in God's agenda. Where it should be in God's agenda. Is anyone online? Let's just drop a comment for me, and then I will pick up the comment in no time. All right. So that's how spiritual formation is very, 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 very important. Spiritual formation is very, very important. Now, one of the things I'm going to just dwell more on the pastoral leadership audit. Okay. Once you're able to make sure that the group that will be able to spearhead the church revitalization is between 12 and 15. Okay, make sure that the children's church is represented, women's church is represented, men's fellowship is represented. Every part of the church is represented in that team. Then the leadership audit also, the leaders are they more of leaders or they are more of managers? There must be some balance. Okay, I've seen churches who are driven just leadership all the way and no manager, or manager all the way, no leaders. You have to, because there have to be some balance, because a plane can only fly with 2 wings, and there must be some balance. A train can only move from one point to another by the 2 tracks. Okay, leadership and management. Okay, that's when you are doing the leadership audit, those must be there. Have a clear and compelling vision. Okay, leadership must have a clear and compelling vision. Okay, more innovative. Okay, you see what makes revitalization successful is when you are trying to be creative, you are trying to be innovative, to be relevant and to be adaptable in today's culture. You see, what kills churches is when they hold on to tradition, when they hold on to sacred cows, when they hold on to methodologies that are not relevant to the cultural setting of today. So one of the things I tell my pastors is that the mission of the church does not change. Even if you are changing it, it doesn't really change, but your methodology can change because your people, the demographics and the psychographics of the community is changing. What makes church revitalization very important in your church is because there is changes going on in the community, but the church is not changing. Okay, the church is not changing. We need to be proactive by changing to match up with the demands of change in the community. Okay, then from the leadership audit, it must be extravagant. That's why I said the dominant and the influencer of the DISC analysis are the very most preferable. If you are not part of those 2 personalities, you need to set up other teams that will help you to go out of your comfort zone to deliver a successful church revitalization. Okay, now you must be very good in people and relational skills. You must be above average in people and relational skills. In fact, one of the statements I make to my training is that a church cannot grow beyond its people skills. A church cannot grow beyond its relational skills. To where? To the community. In fact, once the people and relational skills is those diving. What happens is that the church now gets to be inwardly focused. And once the church becomes to be inwardly focused, that's just the process at which the doors are going to be closed. So deliberately, we need to have that people skills, that relational skills to relate with those in the neighborhood, in the community, in our Jerusalem. Okay, very energetic. The leader must be very energetic, very full of energy, because revitalization is a lot of work. It's not just something you sleep and wake up and get the result. It's a lot of work. And so the leader must be very energetic. The leader must be a team player. A leader must be a delegator, someone who loves to carry everybody along. And that's what happened in Acts chapter 6. In Acts chapter 6, there was a problem, and the apostles did not close their eyes to the problem they had, and then they delegated to the deacons. Okay, they delegated the deacons, and then everyone, there was a team player, and there was more church growth and church health in that Acts chapter 6. So, okay, the leaders also must be inspiring preachers and communicators, must be able to disciple in a true sense. Okay, must be a contemporary thinker, not doing church the way they did it in the old times, but being contemporary in his thinking, doing church God's way, exerting a strong influence in the church. Okay, that's why the dominant and the influencers are preferred assessment, because you need some form of strong influence to be able to lead people. If you don't have strong influence, there's no how you can lead people in what they don't like to get into, because revitalization is taking people away from what they like to what they need to get into. So the leader must exert a strong influence in the church. Okay, must be able to embrace change even when it's not comfortable. Must be able to innovate even when it costs him some comfort. Embrace change and embrace innovation. Okay, they must be good at also resolving conflicts. One of the things that makes most churches to go into revitalization, because there's heavy conflict in the church. Okay, must be good at resolving conflict. I did a whole series on handling church conflicts. You can go in my Facebook page and on YouTube page. You will see quite a lot of good resources on resolving conflict and handling church conflict resolution, conflict management. You must be good at those skills if you are going to get a group of people together and see how successful revitalization can occur in that church. Must be good at solving problems, because when we come to your church, we diagnose your church, we are able to get some problem points, challenging points in the church. You must be good at providing solutions to this problem, solving those problems, and inspiring a visionary leader. That's how you know a leader that can kickstart church revitalization. Okay? Be more directive than being passive. In fact, one of the things that kills church revitalization is when you are passive. The laissez-faire attitude, especially to unhealthy things in the church, unhealthy culture in the church. You must be more direct, must be able to be more direct than being passive as a leader. Good at developing new leaders in your church, because revitalization will require you delegating, and you have to delegate to good hands to make sure that the church is actually developing disciples in your church. Must be passionate about communicating the vision. Okay, every time you must communicate. Anytime you meet, the vision must be clear, vision must be resonated, vision must be such that it's clear to everyone who are attending. Good passionately communicating the vision to all. Okay, especially people who are just coming to your church for the first time. Embrace people to use their gift. Okay, make sure that the round pegs are in round holes, the square pegs are in square holes, and consistently they are actually there, because people change. Empower people to use gifts, empower people to use their talent, empower people to express their passion in areas that will advance the church towards church revitalization. That the leaders also must be self-starters, not people who are trying to check the temperature of other people to do things. They must be self-starters, good innovators, good self-drivers, prioritize strong relationship. They have a strong sense that they must get this done with good discipline and focus and that's what they want to do. They are also effective at leading a generation through a change. Okay, because your church is not just a church of your likes. They have a lot of generations in that church. You have the millennials, the Gen X, Y, and Z, the boomers, all kinds of generations in your church, and you have to be effective in leading those generations through changes, because the way a millennial will respond to change is different from the way a boomer will respond to change. And you have to be able to be effective at leading these generations through change. Prepare to pay the price for revitalization. Okay, one of the things I want to tell leadership is that you have to count the cost. You have to weigh the coins and then be willing to pay the price for the change that you want. Okay, there is a price to pay for moving your church from where it is right now to where it should be. And once you are able to know the price, every of your team knows the price, and they are willing to pay the price, then you can kickstart. You can actually see yourself being successful in church revitalization. You also have to lead a plateau and declining church to a turnaround, so that you are not losing people anymore. You are not under the gravity of subtraction, but you are actually adding. And that's what happened in the Acts of Apostles. The Bible says souls were added daily. People were added to the church daily. And so that's how you're going to get to know that there's a turnaround in your church when souls are transformed and souls are added to your church daily. I want to wrap it up here in 30 minutes because there's so much to be shared on church revitalization. Minister Susan, thank you. Good morning. Glad to be here again. All right, I'll wrap it up here, but next Monday we are going to kick it off again on how to kickstart church revitalization. How to kickstart church revitalization. Please, if you have any questions, go behind the chat box. I'll be there. I'll be able to get any of your questions, and then I will respond to your questions in no time. I have a team of people who are behind the instant messaging. We're going to take your questions, and next Monday we're going to build again, because if we get the leaders right, the leadership right, then you can be successful at kickstarting church revitalization. But get it clear that everything rises and falls on leadership. That's what John C. Maxwell said. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Okay, so let's do proper assessment of you. Can you drive that? Can you kickstart? Are you prepared to move that church from where it is to a preferred future? Can you cause a turnaround from where the church is in the down slope of the maintenance mode, the preservation mode, the life support, and then see how your church could turn around for good, to God's glory and to God's praise? Let us see how we can help you. Magnicraft Consulting is a church consulting firm that helps churches grow healthier through empirical assessment, training, and strategic blueprint. So please feel free, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are building up strong on the YouTube. We're building up strong, creating a community on the YouTube channel. Please, please, and please hit the bell so that when we upload a new video, you'll be notified of that upload, for you to be able to catch up. We know we are building up a series. I don't want you to miss out of any series. Next week Monday, we're going to do part 2 of this. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our page, share to a church staff, a church worker, a church pastor, a general overseer, and I'm sure that they will be glad they receive some of those things. My name again is Niyi Dunmade. I'm the founder and the CEO of Magnicraft Consulting, and please reach out to me. We'd love to help pastors. We have quite a good number of resources that can help you move your church forward. I'll be glad to do that from my end, but just have to reach out to me so that we can be able to start up the conversation. Thank you. God bless you. I love what you're doing, and God will see us through this pandemic. Please, you have any question, let us see chat in any of our social media handles. And that's it. On Monday Morning Matters, that's my contact. Let us know, let us talk, and we're going to give you some good and professional advice. See you Monday. See you next week Monday, and God bless you.